You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 139.2, our girls basketball weekend review for varsity basketball teams in Blackford, Delaware, Grant, Howard, Madison, Tipton, and northern Hamilton counties. Co-hosted by Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome to the Central Indiana Sports Report Girls Basketball Week in Review. Michelle Garmon and I recorded our basketball scoreboard podcast on Wednesday, and Michelle said she would sit in while I do the week in review. This one is a little shorter than usual for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was a little lazier. I didn't call many coaches. In fact, I didn't talk to any of them this week. But the most important reason is there were not a lot of games. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, a lot quicker than usual. And Michelle, if you have any comments, just feel free to drop in. And we start, as we always do, with the Central Indiana Conference, because this is the Central Indiana Sports Report. And on top of the conference right now is Oak Hill at 14-1, 4-0 in the CIC, and Alexandria 16-0, 3-0 in the conference. That's the conference.
Two juggernauts right there, a 3A school and a 2A school.
And they are headed for a showdown for the CIC championship.
And it is later this month. On January 25th, it's going to be Alexandria's second to last game of the season.
Penultimate game.
Yes. And I know Alexandria is going to play Madison Grant. In fact, they end the season with four straight conference games: Elwood, Mississinawa, Oak Hill, and the Madison Grant. But that Oak Hill game is the game, and that's probably right there. That will be for the conference championship.
Sure seems that way. Oak Hill still has two games to play before that one in the conference. Mississinawa's 5-9 in the CIC, 2-1. 5-9 overall, 2-1 in the CIC. Elwood 9-3, 2-2. Frankton 5-9, 1-2. Eastbrook 5-9, 1-3. Madison Grant 3-12, 1-3, and Blackford 2-15. 0-3, got a nice win this week. Oak Hill won the Grant 4 championship at Madison Grant, their 9th and 10th wins in a row. Saturday, they beat Eastbrook 47-21, held Mississinawa to 26% shooting. Sophomore Landry Hardman had 11 points, 7 steals, 6 assists. Senior Liz Godfrey and sophomore Morgan Cates scored 8 points apiece. Cates also had 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Godfrey was 2 for 5 from behind the three-point line. And junior Lydia Trexler had 6 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And as we found out from Kevin Helfrich tonight, she did not play on Tuesday because she was injured. Then in the championship game, the Eagles beat Mississinawa 42-23. Godfrey was the star with 11 points. She was 2 for 3 behind the three-point arc. Hardman had 9 points, 7 rebounds. Sophomore Erica Newhouse really liked her game. She had 7 points and 2 steals. Cates 6 points and 7 rebounds. And freshman Brianna Daly finished with 5 points. They got a lot of options there with Oak Hill.
Oh, they do. I mean, like I said, that Oak Hill and Alexandria game is going to be really something to see, and it's going to be at Oak Hill. And for both of those teams, it's not just for the conference championship, too. It's going to be a key game because, like the following week, the tournament starts. And so, both teams are going to want to play well in that game just as a springboard into the sectional.
On Tuesday night, Oak Hill played 12-2 Lewis Cass. We're not acknowledging that right now. We're going to just act like that hasn't happened because I had the weekend review written before I went to the games tonight and didn't get a chance to get it recorded. And they host 2-15 Blackford on Saturday afternoon in a conference game. Alexandria, last game, they were in the Richmond Holiday Tournament. They beat Charlestown in Richmond to win that tournament. They play in the Madison County Tournament this week. And they will be playing a big one against Pendleton Heights on Thursday. Mississinawa's 5-9 after finishing as the runner-up in the Grant 4. They beat Madison Grant 56-28 behind 17 points from senior J.C. Crick and 11 from junior Charlie Ballage and 9 from junior Brooklyn Nash, who was 2 for 6 from the three-point line. Then they lost 42-23 to Oak Hill, as we mentioned, shot 26% from the field. Crick 7 points and 5 rebounds, Baker 5 points, Nash 5 points, and senior Emma Wakeman had 4 points and 4 rebounds. Mississinawa was at 2-13 Tipton on Tuesday. If you want to know what happened, tune into Wednesday's Central Indiana Sports Report girls basketball scoreboard. They are at 5-10 Manchester on Friday. Elwood is 9-3, had not played since December 20th. That was their third straight win. They are in the Madison County tournament. We're not acknowledging Tuesday, but we'll just tell you that on Thursday they play Frankton in the semifinal round. Frankton is 5-9. They lost 57-35 to Kokomo on Friday. They won on their opener. We're not mentioning Tuesday night, but they will play Elwood on Thursday in the semifinal round. Eastbrook was third at the Grant 4 tournament. Now they are 5-9. They lost 47-21 to Oak Hill. Mia Bustos had 10 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. Senior Michaela Fox had 9 points, and if you do the math, that's 19 of Eastbrook's 21 points between two players. Then they beat Madison Grant 55-51. Mia Bustos 24 points, 20 rebounds, 8 on the offensive on the boards. She was the difference in the game. Fox scored 23 points, so those two scored 47 of their 55 total points. Eastbrook they host 13-2 Wapahani on Tuesday. If you want to know what happened, tune into the scoreboard. Madison Grant is 3-12 overall. After finishing fourth at the Grant 4 tournament Saturday, they lost to Mississinawa 56-28. Freshman Grace Wood had 8 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 block shots. Senior Jasmine Rainey had 6 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals. As I just mentioned, lost 55-51 to Eastbrook in the consolation game. Fourth straight loss for the Argyles. Senior Maddie Holloway hit 5 of her 11 three-point attempts and scored 15 points. Grace Wood had 13 points and 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. She was 4 for 10 from behind the three-point line.
Well, Madison Grant hit 14 threes
14 threes, yeah. And senior Georgia Mitchell had 6 assists. Madison Grant hosts 2-13 Tipton on Wednesday. Michelle and I had a difference of opinion on who's going to win this one coming up in Greg's and Michelle's picks segment. And then the Argyles host 3-11 Southwood on Saturday. Blackford, as I mentioned, they are now 2-15 after ending a 14-game losing streak with a 23-19 win over Blue River Valley. This week they host 9-4 Delta on Tuesday, and they are at 14-1 Oak Hill on Saturday afternoon. I don't think you need to summarize the CIC because we've already talked about it. It comes down to Oak Hill and Alexandria, most likely.
It does. But there's still some intriguing matchups. I'm going to be interested to see how the Lady Panthers finish it out.
Be playing Frankton twice in the next month.
Yeah, they opened with 2 losses. One of them was to the very good Oak Hill team. One was to Eastbrook, and Courtney Licklider, Elwood's coach, would love to have that game back, because there were some things that afterwards she realized that instead of being upset with the team, that they needed to practice some more because the situation these kids weren't used to. So I am interested if they could finish in the top 4. That would be quite a feat for the Lady Panthers.
It would. LaPel is our only independent. They are 10-5. They beat Winchester 61-43 on Monday for their 6th straight victory. Senior Taylor Morose led the Bulldogs with 15 points and 4 assists. Junior Sophie Goodwin had 15 points. Junior Lanaya Wills had 12 points and 16 rebounds. Sophomore Layla Dawson has just an assist machine. She had 4 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. And sophomore Jane Armington had 8 points and 3 assists. LaPel is in the Madison County tournament, and they are going to be playing Anderson on Thursday. To the Hoosier Conference in the East Division, Hamilton Heights and Western are both 4-11 overall and 1-0 in the conference. So they'll be playing each other soon for the conference championship, it looks like. Logansport is 2-13 overall, 1-1 in the conference. Tipton 2-13, 0-2. The Hoosier Conference West, Rensselaer Central 14-1 overall, 3-0 in the conference. Benton Central 13-5, 2-1. West Lafayette 3-11, 0-1. Central Catholic 12-4, 0-1. They could make some noise. They could cause some problems in that race. Yes, they could. And Twin Lakes is 4-12 and 0-3. Hamilton Heights had the week off. Their last game was a 61-58 win over Waldron in the consolation game at the Waldron Holiday Tournament. This week they host 8-6 North Miami on Tuesday and 12-6 Westfield on Saturday afternoon. Tipton is 2-13 overall, 0-2 in the conference. They have not played since a 50-33 loss in the consolation game at the Carroll Holiday Tournament. This week they host 5-9 Mississinawa on Tuesday, and they are at 3-12 Madison Grant on Wednesday. Western is 4-11 overall, 1-0 in the conference. They won 56-46 at West Lafayette on Saturday. Big win for the Panthers. Junior Elise Walden had 21 points. She was 8 for 12 from the field. Sophomore Ella Rawlings had 13 points. She was 3 for 6 from behind the three-point line. Senior Rihanna Bowman, 10 points. She was 2 for 3 from deep. Senior Molly Stage had 5 assists, and freshman Kaylee Oth had 3 steals. This week, the Panthers host 7-7 University on Tuesday, and they are at 2-13 Logansport on Saturday for a big conference game. In the Hoosier Heartland Conference, Sheridan looks like the big favorite. They are the only remaining unbeaten team in the conference. They are 12-1 overall, 4-0 in the Hoosier Heartland. Rossville's 9-5 and the only team with one loss, 4-1 in the conference. Clinton Central 12-4, 2-2. Carroll 11-5, 2-2. Delphi 6-9, 2-2. Tri-Central is 6-9 and 2-2. Clinton Prairie is 6-9 and 3-3 in the conference. Eastern is 0-14 and 0-3. Taylor is 3-13 and 0-4.
I say that the HHC, Hoosier Heartland, is Sheridan's to lose, and I felt that way to begin the season. Part of it was I know Carroll is not a bad team, but when you lose Harness and I think it was Megan Walker, I can't remember her last name, but when you lose the 2 guards that they graduated last year, and knowing what Sheridan brought back, I felt all along that the Hoosier Conference was theirs to lose. Again, and I think that's going to prove out to be that way.
Sheridan hasn't played since a 57-36 win over Eastern Hancock in the Sheridan Holiday Tournament big one last Friday, December 27th. This week they're at 7-7 University on Wednesday, should be a good one, and host 6-9 Tri-Central in a conference game on Friday.
Yeah, that's a girls-boys doubleheader, folks. So if you're planning on going, make sure you get there at 6 to see the girls' varsity game. Otherwise, you will, if you think 7:30, you're going to get there, and it's going to be the boys' varsity game. So it is a girls-boys doubleheader.
Good Sheridan boys team as well.
Yes.
Tri-Central is 6-9 overall, 2-2 in the conference. They lost to Daleville 46-22 on Friday, their 4th straight loss. This week they are at 6-9 Peru on Wednesday. They are at 12-1 Sheridan on Friday, as we just mentioned. Eastern is 0-14 overall, 0-3 in the conference. They lost 74-23 at Marion on Saturday. This week they are at 2-11 Cowan on Tuesday. They host 3-13 Taylor on Wednesday. Good chance to get a win. Their first win of the season against Taylor on Wednesday. They did not pull out the win against Cowan on Tuesday, which we are not acknowledging happened because I got behind this week. Taylor's 3-13 overall, 0-4 in the Hoosier Heartland. They went 1-2 at the Delphi Classic and are 1-1 in 2025. They lost 62-33 to North Montgomery on Friday. Despite the loss, senior Jelena Harris, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Sophomore Kiera Phelps had 9 points. She was 3 for 5 from behind the three-point line. And sophomore Trinity Calvert had 5 points and 4 assists. Taylor then beat Frankfurt 48-36 also on Friday. Harris had 21 points, 18 rebounds. Senior Malia Smith finished with 11 points. She was 4 for 9 from the field. And senior Amelia Collins finished with 7 points. This week they are at 0-4 Eastern on Wednesday and 9-5 Rossville on Friday in a pair of conference games. In the Hoosier Heritage Conference, Shelbyville is 8-7 overall, the only unbeaten team in the Hoosier Heritage at 3-0. No way that they stay that way. This is going to come down to Pendleton Heights and Mount Vernon, I believe. They are tied for second. Pendleton Heights 9-6 overall, 4-1 in the conference. Mount Vernon 12-4, 3-1 in the conference. So actually, Pendleton Heights is a half game ahead. I believe Pendleton Heights is going to win that conference championship. Delta's 9-4 overall, 3-2 in the conference. Greenfield Central 11-5, 2-2. Yorktown 9-5, 1-2. New Pal 6-7, 1-4. Newcastle 4-10, 0-4.
Yeah,
It's an awfully good Pendleton Heights team. Surprising loss to Mount Vernon earlier, but Mount Vernon took a loss, so it looks like it's Pendleton Heights has a good chance.
it does at least to clinch a share of it.
And on Thursday, of course, they play the unbeaten Alexandria Tigers in the Madison County tournament. Their last game, they won 77-29 at Jay County, and Jay County's not a bad team. That's a huge win. Listen to these performances. We'll just go ahead and name our performance of the week right now, Michelle. Senior Casey Werfel had 37 points. She was 15 for 24 from the field, 4 for 6 from behind the three-point line, with 7 steals, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists, and she is not our performance of the week. Our single game performance of the week, and I'm sure Casey will understand, goes to junior Olivia Jones, who had a triple-double of 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists in the win over Jay County.
Yeah, snake eyes across the board.
Sophomore Ada Hupp for 11 points and 12 rebounds, 7 on the offensive board. That is 3 really good performances. Senior Aubrey Gray and senior Emma Roberts had 6 points apiece. Pendleton Heights is also in the Madison County tournament, one of the co-favorites. Delta is 9-4 overall, 3-2. They haven't played since December 21st. A 63-54 win at Greenfield Central, maybe their best win of the season. This week they are 2-15 Blackford on Tuesday, so they should get the double-digit wins. That's a big deal for that program. Then they are at 7-8 Lebanon on Saturday. Yorktown beat Jay County 54-41 Saturday. Junior Lily Sylvester 17 points and 8 rebounds. Sophomore Olivia Conklin had 11 points. She was 3 for 5 from behind the three-point line. Also had 4 rebounds, 4 steals, and 4 assists. Sophomore Alexa Fields, 9 points and 6 rebounds. Senior Claire Hazen finished with 4 points and 5 rebounds, and Coach Bargy mentions her defense every time I talk to her, I think. She held Jay County star Haley Schwederman to 2 points in the first half in the win. This week, they are host 7-6 Muncie Central on Tuesday and 8-7 Shelbyville on Saturday afternoon with a chance to play HHC Spoiler, and I like their chances.
Why do you believe that schools like Yorktown and Greenfield Central can have a big role in who wins that conference?
Yeah, it's a tough conference at the top.
And, and even New Pal, because New Pal, it's been a while, I think, since their girls have had a losing record at this point in the season. So,
and in the North Central Conference, the standings are quite interesting. Richmond is on top, 6-8 overall, 2-0 in the conference. Don't expect that to last much longer. Lafayette Jeff 10-4 overall, 1-0 in the conference, and the favorites going forward because they beat Kokomo, the only team with 1 loss. Kokomo's 11-5, 2-1. Muncie Central 7-6, 1-2. Marion 7-9, 1-2. Anderson 1-14 and 1-3. Kokomo beat Frankton 57-35 at home Friday. They outscored the Eagles 40-15 in the second half. Sophomore Satira Scott had a career high 16 points, 5 rebounds. Also had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Junior Eliana Stewart, who I call the stat stuffer, 13 points, 7 steals, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Seems like it's every game. She just stuffs those stats. Senior A.V. Pollard, 8 points and 5 rebounds. Senior Michaela Drake, 7 points, Freshman Jordan Brown had 7 points, and junior Amara Stroman had 6 for a very balanced Kokomo team. This week they host 6-8 Northwestern on Wednesday. They're at 2-13 Logansport on Saturday.
Yeah, it's because of Lafayette Jeff getting the win over Kokomo. It does definitely put them in the driver's seat. I'm sure at some point, or even now, that Coach Haley Peckinpah of Kokomo would love to get a second chance, but you don't do that. You don't.
Marion would have to beat Lafayette Jeff, I believe.
Yeah, and so
doesn't seem likely, but they've got an awfully talented young crew, and you never know when they're gonna.
No, you don't. The sad part is I do kind of wish that the NCC was a little bit tougher, like the boys. It's not. The sad part is it real for the girls. It hasn't been probably for at least about 15 or so years. Has it not been really that tough?
All right, Muncie Central is 7-6 overall, 1-2 in the conference. Their last game was a 48-34 loss to Wapahani on December 23rd. This week they're at 9-5 Yorktown on Tuesday and host 10-4 Lafayette Jeff in a NCC game on Friday. Marion 7-9 overall, 1-2 in the conference. They beat Eastern 74-23 on Saturday. Freshman Naomi Hahn had 25 points. Freshman Jaylee Townsend 18, and senior Shania Scott 15 for the Giants. This week they are at 3-11 Southwood on Tuesday and host 6-8 Richmond, who we talked about is on top of the NCC on Friday. And Anderson is 1-14, 1-3 overall. They haven't played since December 27th in the Whiteland Holiday Invitational. They lost 65-57 to Tri-West. In the Mid-Eastern Conference, Eastern Hancock is on top at 6-0. They're 13-2 overall. So is Wapahani. Wapahani is 6-1 in the conference and lost to Eastern Hancock. 3 teams have 2 losses in the conference, so basically it's down to Eastern Hancock and Wapahani. Randolph Southern's 10-4, 4-2. Shenandoah 9-5, 4-2. Monroe Central 9-4, 3-2. And you have Daleville 8-5, 3-3 in the conference. Blue River Valley 3-12, 2-3. Union 4-8, 2-4, Cowan 2-11, 0-5, and Westdale yet to break through, 0-14 and 0-8 in the conference. Wapahani's last game was in the Oldenburg Holiday Tournament, where they lost to the host Twisters, ending a 9-game losing streak. This week they're at 5-9 Eastbrook on Tuesday and host 4-10 Newcastle on Thursday. Daleville had a really nice win, 46-22 at Tri-Central on Friday for their 5th win in 6 games. The Broncos are 8-5. They're 8-3. They're at 12-3 Southern Wells on Tuesday. Cowan is 2-11 overall, 0-5 in conference. Their last game was December 20th. Been a while. They lost 53-7 to Tri. They host 0-14 Eastern on Tuesday and at 8-5 Daleville on Friday. Westdale is 0-4 and 0-8. They lost 61-11 at home to Shenandoah on December 23rd in their last game, and they host Indiana Def, which is 5-7 on Tuesday. To the Pioneer Conference in the North Division, University is 7-7 and has already won the division at 2-0. Anderson Prep is 9-4, 1-1. Burris 1-11, 0-2. Liberty Christian 1-2 overall. They are not officially part of the conference right now. Anderson Prep's last game was December 19th. A 62-52 win over Madison Grant. They are in the Madison County Tournament this week. Burris has not played since December 14th, a 58-21 loss to Shenandoah, and doesn't play till January 14th. Boys and girls basically took a full month off. They're at 9-3 Elwood on January 14th. And Liberty Christian is 1-2. Their last game was a 64-37 loss at Knightstown. They are also in the Madison County Tournament this week. And finally, to the Three Rivers Conference, where Wabash and Whitco both remain unbeaten. Wabash is 12-3 overall, Whitco 9-3. Rochester is 12-3 overall, 4-1 in the conference. Lewis Cass is 12-2 overall, 3-1 in the conference. Mechaniqual 9-5 overall, 3-1 in the conference. Northfield 8-6, 2-2. Northwestern 6-8, 1-4. Peru 6-9, 1-5. Manchester 5-10, 1-5, and Southwood is 3-11 overall, 0-4 in conference. It's going to come down to Wabash and Whitco.
It is.
Unless Rochester or Lewis Cass can play spoiler, but
Probably I would say that, possibly Lewis Cass could play spoiler, but I do think it'll probably come down to Wabash and Whitco. My guess is it may be Wabash. Wabash has got a pretty good history in their girls basketball program.
And they have a very athletic team. Northwestern is 6-8 overall, 1-4 in the conference. They won 47-33 at home against Manchester. Big win for the Tigers. Senior Anna Bisher, 23 points. Senior Berkeley Ray, 6 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Junior Macy Roddy, 5 points. Freshman Brooklyn Conwell, 5 points. Sophomore Isabella Eric had 4 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. It was their third straight win after losing 6 of the previous 7 games. They are at 11-5 Kokomo on Thursday this week. All right, to our weekly honors, the Central Indiana Sports Report Performance of the Week. We already mentioned Olivia Jones of the Pendleton Heights Arabians. 11 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, and a 77-29 win over Jay County. 6 of her 11 rebounds came on the offensive end.
That's always nice. I mean, I still look at that performance, and I know some people will say, well, 11 points is not a lot, but 11 rebounds and 11 assists are a lot.
11 assists is a lot in a high school basketball game.
And especially a high school girls basketball game. But anytime you can get a triple-double, it's a fantastic feat. And you know what? Triple-doubles aren't easy to come by. Otherwise, we'd see one every night, and we don't.
The Central Indiana Sports Report win of the week came courtesy of the Western Panthers, a 56-46 win against Hoosier Conference rival West Lafayette on the road Saturday. It was the second straight win for Western on the heels of a 9-game losing streak. The Central Indiana Sports Report Girls Basketball Coach of the Week is Oak Hill head coach Carrie Barcombe. She has her Golden Eagles on a 10-game winning streak after leading them to the Grant 4 championship on Saturday. The Central Indiana Sports Report Player of the Week is Taylor senior Jelena Harris. In 2 games, she had 40 points and 23 rebounds in the Delphi Holiday Classic. She had 21 points and 18 rebounds in a 48-36 win over Frankfort. The Central Indiana Sports Report Team of the Week is the Oak Hill Golden Eagles. They won their first Grant 4 championship in 6 years by beating Eastbrook 47-21 and Mississinawa 42-23 Saturday at Madison Grant. And now to our Central Indiana Sports Report Power Poll, our top 20, starting at number 20. There wasn't a lot of movement this week because there weren't a lot of games. And also, I think that this poll may be indisputable. We haven't had a lot of number 18 beat number 4 team or it's almost gone completely in order. So number 20 is Northwestern. They are 6-8. They stay at number 20, but I have a feeling they're moving up next week. Tri-Central remains at number 19. They are 6-9. Western remains at 18 at 4-11. Mississinawa stays at 17 at 5-9. Hamilton Heights debuted at 16 last week, is still number 16 at 4-11. Daleville stays at 15, 8-5. Elwood is still 14 at 9-3. Eastbrook is still 13 at 5-9. Frankton is still 12 at 5-9. Muncie Central is still number 11 at 7-6. Marion stays at number 10 at 7-9. Delta 8-9. They are 9-4. Yorktown stays the same at 9-5. Wapahani stays the same at number 7. They are 13-2. The top 6 are also the same. Kokomo is number 6 at 11-5. Lapel 10-5. They are number 5. Sheridan is number 4 at 12-1. Oak Hill is number 3 at 14-1. And the top 2 teams play each other on Thursday night. 9-6 Pendleton Heights is number 2. 16-0 Alexandria is number 1. It's going to be up for grabs on Thursday.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, if Pendleton Heights wins, they get to go up to number 1. But Alex should still be number too.
I'm not sure if Pendleton won that they would necessarily go to number one, because the way we do our power poll is we do take class into consideration. Head-to-head is probably the most important thing, but we take class and record into consideration because Alexandria probably has a chance to go farther in the tournament. So it would have to be a convincing win, I think, to move past Alexandria, but I believe that Pendleton is capable of a convincing win against Alexandria, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We could have a new number one next week, or Alexandria may take this thing from start to finish.
They may. Mickey's they've got a special little group going.
Yes, they do. And Jacqueline Hosier is special.
She is, and I would say that there's a couple reasons of beefing up their schedule a little bit this year. One is to prepare them better for the postseason tournament, and two is getting Jacqueline playing against larger schools to help her all-star chances. And no offense, she's a fascinating player, a phenomenal player. It's going to be hard to make the Indiana All-Star team. I say that because I watched in the Hall of Fame. Those players, and I know that the Tipner girls right there at Noblesville. You got the Reynolds girl.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Who got the quadruple double? Did you see that for South Bend, Washington? So there's just a lot of really good girls basketball players in the state of Indiana right now.
I think she'll be on the All-Star team.
I would
it's all
hope.
said and done, but it may come down to team success.
It may, and I do like they've done the right things as far as getting her that. I hope she does make the All-Star team. I think it would be great.
She would be the third Alexandria player, correct?
Let's see. You had Jody Howe was Miss Basketball. You had Jackie Closser. She would be more than that, because before that you had Sabrina Sloan. You had Jody Martin.
Okay.
So
very nice tradition there at Alexandria for girls
Rachel
basketball.
Garner.
I was way off.
Yeah. So they have. I mean, it would be phenomenal for them to get another one.
And I think they're going to.
I hope
All right,
so.
Michelle, thank you so much for your time. It is way too late for a school night for me, and time for bed. And thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, or follow so you don't miss a single segment. We are on Amazon, Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. It's easy to find. And it would help us so much if you would tell a friend.
Folks, it is worth the listen. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, because I don't do that. I think Greg has done a wonderful job and is bringing recognition to a lot of athletes and high school programs in the state. And I'm going to tell you, you need to listen. It's great. Not only then do you need to listen, you need to go out, and you also need to support your local papers. Rob Hunt works his butt off at Anderson Herald to provide you with a lot of coverage for a lot of schools. Yeah. Scott Hunt does the same.
I talked to Norman Anderson from the Liberty Christian tonight, and he said it's just phenomenal what kind of coverage they get for a small school. And he's right. And Rob Hunt works his butt off.
He does. Scott Hunt does the same at in Marion, and Scott, he's got all those high schools, and he's got Indiana Wesleyan and Taylor and really, and kind of Huntington, who plays in that conference, to go. He's got a lot to cover. He works hard. So does Brian Gaskins of Kokomo.
Caden Hampton of the Muncie Star Press.
Yes, our
really
friend
nice
Cody Emerson down in Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
I try to do the best I can to get around, but it's.
Well, you're a legend, Michelle. You're a legend in this business, and thank you so much again for your time and those nice words. And by the way, I'm not sure if I've made you aware of this or not, but the Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media.
And Greg loves Susie.
I sure do.
And so do I. Hope you had a great New Year, Susie. Sorry I didn't get to meet you face to face over the holidays.